So I wanted to give you guys 10 key takeaways from last year, which was really the first year in business. So number one was just get going. Don't put it off. Just start. I wish I had started years prior, and I wish I had went about the process of actually obtaining, all the licenses and everything to start doing business earlier, rather than dragging it out and kind of being scared to go off on my own and kind of afraid to leave my job. And the faster you can, once you know, and you have, if you're a true entrepreneur, it's there, you've been feeling it for many years. So just the faster you can just get over it and pull the trigger, the better. Jump. If you've heard jump and the net will appear, it's very true. You can, study and analyze all you want, but it's not going to prepare you for what the real deal is. You're not gonna, read a book and really know exactly what it's like to run the business until you're out there running the business, and you'll figure things out as you go. So number one, just get started. Don't wait. You'll save yourself a lot of time, a lot of money. If I hadn't kind of dragged things out and done things faster, I would have saved a lot of money, and I would have been a lot further along than I am now. But lesson learned, part of the entrepreneurship game. So number two, I got some my notes right here, the points I wanted to hit. So if I look down, that's what I'm doing. So never stop educating yourself. This is huge, and it has to be part of who you are, honestly. That, or you need to train yourself. So if you're, I'll give you, for instance, if you are an expert in your trade, in your field, okay, you're probably not an expert communicator. You're probably not an expert with money. You're probably not an expert in, psychology and sales and marketing and all these other things that you really need to know and learn about and have a good kind of foundation in to run a business properly. It's going to be some time before you're able to financially afford putting the right people who are experts in those places, So you're going to need to know like communication. You're going to have to know how to communicate with employees. You're going to have to know how to communicate with owners. You're going to have to know how to communicate with estimators. You're going to have to know how to sell your business. Why should they use you? You haven't been around. Who are you? What are you doing? So never stop educating yourself. It is extremely important. Educate yourself on, finances, communication, how to keep your emotions in check is huge. For instance, I used to be a poor communicator, and I used to be, quick to anger, and that is not going to fly as a business owner at all. You might as well wrap it up, because people aren't going to want to follow that. People are going to want to follow somebody who is not only educated but is centered and treats them with respect, and just knows, because you're going to get all kinds of things happening to you, right? You're going to get tested daily. Get used to things not going your way and being okay with it, and working through it and learning the lessons to do better, all while keeping your emotions centered and coming from a place of empathy and compassion rather than anger and frustration. It's that's key. So always continue to educate yourself, and books are a great way to do that. All right, find a competent superintendent/foreman. So they're the guys out there actually bringing the money in. They are extremely important. So make sure, and it's important for you to get this as quickly as you can, so you can get out of the field and do what you need to do and start working on the business as a whole. If you're out in the field, running the jobs, yeah, you're out there doing a great job, but it's just basically another job. It's not a business, right? You're just self-employed. You're going to be stuck out in the field and you're not really going to be growing the business. So not quickly, make sure you're making the right choice, because if you put the wrong guy out there, it's going to cost you money. So as fast as you can, when it makes sense, put the right guy out there in the field running the crews so you can focus on the other parts of the business. Number 4, this is huge. Know when to prune. And there is a great book, actually. Let me see if I've got it. I can't find it, but it's called Necessary Endings. And it is, this part is extremely important, because ending relationships in business and in life it's a necessary part for growth. You have to do it. If you are not cutting people out, then you're not growing. Now that might sound mean, but like I read in the book, which is excellent, you might hurt the person that you're getting rid of, but you're not harming them, right? You might hurt their feelings, but you're not harming them. In reality, if you held on to them and kept, not telling them the truth that they need to move on, find another fit, something that suits them better, then you're doing them a disservice. You're doing them a disservice and you're doing you a disservice. So, get it out there. Hurt the feelings, but you're serving them in the long run, and you're serving yourself as well. So they're gonna be like, you know what? Maybe this isn't the right fit, or whatever. And they're gonna have to look at themselves and move on and find something that is going to truly be for them, rather than you lying to them, saying, and being too afraid to tell them what the truth is, like they're not the right fit, and they don't even get it. They think everything's all good, and they're not doing that great and they don't know that because you're not telling them. So I hope that made sense. So know when to prune, know when to cut people out. Again, it's not the mean thing to do. You're actually doing them good, and you're doing the company good. Okay, so the faster you get, and I still struggle with this, that's why I have the book, but it is extremely important. And over this past year, I've seen how important that truly is. So know when to prune. And then number 5, which, this kind of leads into this, is I wouldn't recommend, my experience, don't get into business with family or friends. Reason being, it could prolong, right? If, let's say, you start a business with a family member or a friend, and they worked out for a certain part of the business, and then as it grew, you guys don't align at all. They don't serve the company, and it's just time to move on. How much harder is that going to be if you were friends for 10 years prior, or they were your family? It's going to be extremely difficult to do what's good for the business. At the end of the day, this is the business, and you're trying to make money. Not trying to, you are making money. And if you can't make these necessary endings, another analogy that this book uses is a rose bush. For a rose bush to reach its full potential, it only has so many resources to allocate to the whole bush, right? So if there's a branch that is, it's growing, but it's not growing the best, if it's dead, it's not budding, it gets cut off the bush. It's a big part of a rose. And I know nothing about gardening, but from this book, trimming the fat off this bush is necessary for it to reach its full potential. Okay? So for you to reach your full potential in business, you're going to need to make these cuts. And what I saw from my experience is being in business with people you've had relationships, you know, a friendship or a family, it's gonna make what is necessary much harder, and it's gonna lengthen the time out. So I personally wouldn't recommend it. Okay, procedures and training. This is, don't feel like you have to have everything figured out right up front, but the sooner the better. And I would highly recommend, if you can do it day one, do it day one. I'm doing it now, which I wouldn't recommend, but that's what's going on. You have to train the guys. It doesn't matter how long they've been in the field, how long they've been in the business. You have to train them how you do things, and you have to have procedures for that. You have to have step-by-step, procedures for every position, and you need to train these guys on how you do things. Otherwise, it's a nightmare. You know, you can have all this experience, but it really doesn't matter if you don't have, chain of command, procedures, and training, your own training. So implement that as soon as possible, because it is, what I experienced this past year. This past year was, because of everything going on and split from partnership, it was like, get things done, and boom, we got everything done, and now it's time to regroup, come up with the systems, the processes, the training, and get it implemented now. So for this coming year, everything is running smoothly. Okay, next one, safety. So as a startup, you might not have the capital. Now again, you gotta be strategic of when you are allocating money to what position and where. So you might not have money or the amount of jobs to have a full-time safety guy, but it is important. So what you can do is hire a safety consultant. And I just learned this. So you can hire a consultant to come out to each one of your jobs. It's not somebody you have full-time, it's just somebody you hire per job, and make sure that you're staying in compliance on your jobs. Boom, takes care of that. So safety consultant. Takeoffs. Okay. So for the earthwork trade and what we do, takeoffs are a crucial part of the business. Okay. And again, as a startup, you're not going to have more than likely, you won't have the capital right up front to get a full-time estimator. Maybe you do, awesome. If you don't, getting takeoffs done by a third party is a great way to go, because then you can just take those. It saves you hours, literally. Hours that you're in front of a computer screen tracing lines. It saves you those hours where you get the takeoff. If you have a third party do them, you get the takeoff and you put your numbers to those, which only takes like 20 minutes, and then boom, that bit's done. So I would highly recommend having somebody that you trust that is good. All right, sorry, the video cut out. We're gonna keep it moving though. So takeoffs, extremely important. And I would recommend having somebody do them for you that you trust. They're accurate. Again, they have to be done well. You can't get a company where, in their contract that you signed with them, it says, we're not responsible for accuracy, and, you're basically shit out of luck if we screw up, because that'll cost you thousands of dollars. I got hit for 30 grand last year, just off of one mess up. So you really got to make sure you have the right person doing the takeoffs. Okay, that's it. So that's my tip on that. Okay, this is a big one. Self-perform as much as possible. Okay? So, you're gonna want to, as a subcontractor, you're gonna want to put together package deals. You know, I've heard them called super sub packages or whatever. Basically, what you're doing is you're combining like paving, grading, demo, which I'm getting a license right now. Why? Because if you're getting that extra work, you can come down on the price a little bit and it's attracted to the GC. They're like, okay, I just have to deal with this one guy for this amount of things, which is great. It's great for both sides. But for us, subbing out the paving, you know, we weren't set up to do our own paving yet, just to grade. So by subbing it out, there's all kinds of drama that can happen between you and the pavers. So, and you can lose some money in there. And the markup, you're only putting like 5 to 10% markup on that. So the potential for loss with the markup, you really have to look at that. Okay, if you're going to sub something out, like, is it worth it? If you're gonna make a lot in the grading and you haven't worked out to where you know you're not gonna lose subbing out the paving, and you can add it as a package, then great. But from my experience, what I saw last year, until I have the right crews, right, and I have everything built in the right way, I'm gonna focus more on demo, more on what we self-perform. Why? Because you're gonna make more money. You're not just putting a little percentage on top of something somebody else is doing, which I don't even like doing that. But it's more of an attractive package for the general contractor. So my tip is self-perform as much as possible. So I am currently right now getting my demo license. So killer right there. Self-perform as much as possible. And I wouldn't recommend really subbing anything out unless you know that is going to make a huge difference to this GC as far as a package and getting that job. All right, last one isn't really it's something I learned last year, but it's a quote, and it was a powerful one. I mean, this one just hit me. I was like, damn. And so I'm 40 years old. I'm like, I got to get stuff going. And it's taken a lot of work. I created a lot of holes for myself in the past. It's taken a lot of, I had to dig myself out of a lot of holes to get to where I'm at. And this quote hit. It's like, where is the richest place in the world? And I was like, damn, richest place in the world. I don't know, Dubai? And they said the graveyard. I was like, the graveyard? And so they go on to talk, and they're like, think about all the dreams and because every person on this planet is here for a specific purpose. Are they gonna find that purpose? Most will never. Why? Because of fear and so many other things. But think of how many people are in the graveyard, they're dead, and they went into the grave with all these dreams and all these ways they could have, their true purpose, how they could have truly given and like given back to society, all these businesses, all these all the potential they had just gone because they were too afraid to take the steps to, put that into the reality. We truly are capable of anything. I know this. It's just, how much are you gonna limit yourself or let others limit you? Your belief is more powerful than you will ever realize. When you finally get to a place to where you can let go of get past most of these limiting beliefs, enough to where you can have this belief in yourself that nobody can touch, you are going to do anything. I mean, you can literally do anything. It's really true what your parents tell you back in the day. I don't even think they really comprehend how deep it is. Okay? So it's all about that belief. So anyway, back to the quote. So that one hit me. It's richest place is a graveyard. So don't let that be you. Whatever desire you have, whatever, you're here for a specific purpose. So find that and let it out. Like get after it and don't wait.